a number of aspects to this partnership. First of all, you're going to be going in on a rental network together as well as a self-driving car network. We'll get to that. But Dan, I wanted to start with you. Why invest in Lyft and not Uber?
So we've spent a lot of time thinking about the future of mobility and where it's headed. We've said over the last year or two, we expect more change in the mobility environment in the next 5 years than we've seen in the last 50. We see ride sharing as something that's growing really rapidly and an important part of the future of the business. Lyft is growing faster than any other ride-sharing company.
Lyft is growing faster than Uber?
Lyft's growing faster than any other ride-sharing company.
That's right.
John can add to that. But most importantly of all, we're really aligned about where we see the future going. We're really aligned about how we're going to work together to make that happen. And we're really aligned culturally between the two companies as to how we want to get things done here. So we're super excited.
John, how much faster?
Not talk about specifics in growth rate. You know, we can talk about our specific growth year over year was 3x in the United States. We're focused in the U.S. You know, we've been gaining market share and excited about the future of our business and this partnership.
So Dan, does this rule out working with Uber?
So this is going to be a very deep relationship. The level of integration that needs to happen to bring together what we want to bring together with this autonomous on-demand network is going to require our two companies to work together really, really closely. So that's going to be a really special kind of partnership and something that we will be putting a lot of resources behind, as will the Lyft team.
So is that a yes, it rules out working with Uber?
We're going to be working together really closely with Lyft.
Okay. Now, John, what does this mean for drivers? Do you see self-driving cars taking over the fleet? Do you see them complementing human drivers?
Yeah, I mean, I think this will evolve over several years, and so will be introduced as a complement, and eventually will be, I think, the main way people are getting around. And I think as a company that has really valued and taken care of drivers along the way, I'm happy that we're going to be part of that transition because we're going to be doing it in the most responsible way and making sure that drivers are taken care of in those years down the road.
Now, this is interesting because it's the first time we've seen a ride-sharing company partner with an automaker. And I want to get to timeline because you've said you expect to see Lyft self-driving cars on the road within 10 years, likely sooner, right?
That's right.
So, Dan, how do you see the timeline playing out? Because I've talked to people like Bill Gurley, he's on the board of Uber. He says it's more like 20 or 30 years, and a lot of this is hype.
So we think this is a journey that we're going on here to get to this autonomous on-demand network. We announced at the end of last year as General Motors that we intend to deploy a fleet of autonomous Chevrolet Volts on our Tech Center campus in Warren, Michigan, and that will become a development bed, if you like, for us to do rapid development from there forward, which fits really hand in glove with the autonomous on-demand network that we've announced as part of this alliance here with Lyft. So it's going to be a journey over time and something that we will be putting a lot of resources behind and working as rapidly as we can to make happen.
Is sooner than 10 years realistic?
We're going to be working as fast as we can to make it happen.
How do you see it playing out, John? When you arrive at that time frame, how do you play that out in your mind?
So how long it takes or at that moment, what is that experience like?
Both.
So I think the experience is really interesting. And so, let's say several years out, you'll open up the Lyft app, request a ride. We think it'll be more of a transportation experience. So if you're traveling with a group of friends or family, you'll get one type of experience. Maybe it's movie Lyft on a long ride up to Tahoe, so you can enjoy that trip. Or maybe you're coming home from work, watching a sports game with other friends. So we're going to actually be able to really create transportation experiences that you request right from the app.
I would love to see Lyft in Tahoe, so I hope you're working on that.
Yeah.
Now, Dan, Google has partnered with Ford. We believe that Apple is working on self-driving cars. Tesla, Uber has been working really closely with Carnegie Mellon. What makes you think you can compete with highly funded Silicon Valley companies?
Well, we're a highly funded Detroit company, and the Lyft guys have just raised $1 billion here as well, so they're in really strong shape from a funding point of view. But what's most important and unique here in terms of what we're doing is we're bringing together, as you said, we're bringing together for the first time a car company with all of the capability we have around autonomous, around connectivity, around the resources that we have from a technical point of view, a financial point of view, bringing that together with the fastest growing rideshare platform. That's a unique combination that no one else has done yet. And we think that gives us an opportunity to be right at the forefront of this change in how people want to consume mobility, particularly in the urban environment.
So obviously transportation is becoming more of a service. How does this change your business model? As you look ahead, if people aren't buying as many cars or they're riding in Lyft self-driving cars and they don't need necessarily the best car, the most customized car, if they're just a backseat passenger. How does your business model change?
Well, that's exactly why we're doing what we're doing here with this alliance, is we see that change coming, and we want to lead that change and be at the forefront of it. And by bringing together the resources of these two companies, that puts us in a unique position to be right at the front of that. Having said that, from a General Motors point of view, the real strength in our business today and our core business is actually more outside of the urban centers. And so we see the opportunity as we go in to disrupt mobility in the urban environment in particular as much more of an opportunity for us than any kind of threat.
Now, John, the rental network, how quickly are you going to get these up and running? How big are they going to be? Where are they going to be? Model it out for me.
Yeah, so some of those details we can't release today, but this is something that we're working on immediately. And so the idea here is that there is actually 16% of Lyft driver applicants that apply, but because of the year of their car or the size of their car, are unable to drive on the platform. And there are millions of other casual drivers out there that would like an easy way to earn income. Renting a car by the week or by the month gives them that flexibility without the long-term commitment of a lease. So again, taking care of drivers who want to get this income opportunity. With General Motors, the access to General Motors financing power, as well as their fleet of different types of vehicles, we're going to be rolling this out in several cities. You'll see this start in Q1 of this year, and it will add a lot of value and save a lot of money for drivers.
Do you see financing, Dan, becoming a bigger part of your business model as transportation becomes a service?
Yeah, we see this opportunity around the rental hub as a very interesting one, and one that we think could scale up pretty quickly. And we'll be working to get that deployed as quickly as we can. And obviously, given the financial firepower that we have as a company, we can finance these vehicles much more efficiently than an individual driver can, and that will bring the total cost of ownership down, or total cost of operating the vehicle down for the driver, and allow a lot more drivers to come onto the Lyft platform.
So Uber has a $62.5 billion valuation, which is unprecedented for a private technology company. It's bigger than GM's market cap. How does that number strike you?
Well, that's a number that's out there. People have ascribed that valuation. What we're focused on right now is the work that we're doing together with Lyft, and we think it's going to create a huge amount of value for our customers together, and that'll create a lot of value for our stockholders down the road.
Mary Barra, the CEO of GM, was just named chairman, reuniting the CEO and chairman role. What's your take on working with Mary so far? What do you make of this announcement?
I think that was just announced. It's great news, obviously, and I think it's a statement about where the company is today, the strong position we're in. It's a statement about Mary's really strong leadership over the last couple of years, and it's really exciting for us.
What specifically would you point to?
Well, I think the fact that we're here making the announcement that we've made today around this alliance, the fact that we're looking to the future of mobility, how that's changing, and that we want to be right at the forefront of that instead of letting that go and happen away from us. So we want to be very much part of the change that we see, and like I said, we see more change in the next 5 years in this business than we've had in the last 50, and it's a really exciting time.
So, John, as you model out your 2016 and taking on the competition, what are your top priorities this year? What cities, what strategies, what are we going to see from Lyft in 2016?
Yeah, so I think the way we think about the business is, we want to attract new users, new drivers and passengers, but also expand the use cases for existing users. And so we think of the spectrum. The first time you use this service, maybe you're going out and having a drink, and you obviously don't want to drink and drive, so you take a Lyft. And then you hear about Lyft Line, and you try it for your commute, and you see how convenient and affordable that is. And now we have people in San Francisco and New York that are using Lyft 80 to 100 times a month. And so what Lyft will be doing this year is be attracting new users, as well as building products to increase usership, from that first use to the 100 uses a month.
Dan, you've talked about how the auto industry is going to change dramatically, quickly. How is the car industry going to be different in 50 years?
Well, our business has been built around for a long time, the owner-driver model. So you buy a car and you use it when you need to, and you park it when you don't. And what we're seeing through ride-sharing and other things is that whole owner-driver model changing, the ownership model changing, the utilization model changing.
Okay.
The average car is used 4 or 5% of its time, and the rest of the time it sits there depreciating. And that's a model that's got to change, given everything else that's going on in the world. So safety, emissions, congestion, economics, all of those things will drive this change.
All right.